beneficiaries of what I would characterize as the Gutenberg factor, the printing press.
Mhm, mhm. Oh, I mean, absolutely. You know, with the emergence of globalization, with advanced technology, basically at our doorsteps, we have been able to engage in a way, strategically, I would use that word, engage in a way that generations before us have not been able to do. So I can be sitting here in New York and New Jersey and know exactly what's going on in Egypt or know exactly what's going on in the Middle East. I can connect with people who are leading movements and protests, and I can organize resources here to be available to them where they are, to provide them with the needs. So things have been shortened in time. The distance have been shortened. Resources have been more available to others that regardless wasn't there before. And we now see an insight into some of the issues that many people are going through, in different countries. And I think that is what I think has changed things a lot. But even with the benefits of advanced technology and social media, we also see how that also can be used for, bad, how that can be used against young people. And I always say that, look, Africa, as you know, has the highest population of young people, right, on the continent than any other continent. Now, when we look at this and when we sort of look at the metrics and we look at the data, the idea is that, okay, we have a generation of young people, yes, who are frustrated, who are graduating, who don't have, not seeing improvement in employment rates, who are not, in a sense, sitting in elected positions in a percentage that we would like. And that has an effect on the population. It has an effect on development. It has an effect on the economy. And so, what do you do with a population who is just sitting? And it's almost like a ticking time bomb. If you are not preparing your country, in a sense, to have progressive policies that enable young people to find their footing, enable young people to reach their highest potential, then you are creating avenues for them that, in a sense, will have a bounce back on the country. If there is no way for them to get a job, they're going to go into deviant measures in order to sustain themselves and their families. A lot of these decisions oftentimes are survival based decisions. They're decisions where I need money and this is an opportunity, whether it's good or bad, I'm going to take it. And so in a sense, you're just creating a horrible atmosphere and environment for the young people who are supposed to be our elected leaders by now, right? Who are supposed to be leading some of these countries by now, and using that exposure, that global exposure that they have to bring the country forward. But we still see cases of electoral fraud, corruption, godfatherism, and all of these things that are still holding back this generation who desperately want to lead and who desperately want to, change the course of tide for many of these countries.
Yetunde, what about the fact that most of Africa, you are talking about the state being the single largest employer,
Hmm.
being the single largest contractor,
Yeah,
to the extent that whoever is in control of the state is virtually almost in control
everything.
of the population's oxygen.
Absolutely. That's the ingredients of authoritarianism. So I'm going to control the security, I'm going to control the economy, and that's it. So people are in a perpetual cycle of control, right? Fear and control, fear and control. And I think that is one of the ways in which authoritarianism just continues to exist and survive, which is why we have some of the longest running presidents ever in the continent, right? They have been able to use these two ingredients to sort of cripple the economy and also cripple, the population from any form of movement or any form of of of, of speaking out to hold them accountable. And it's quite unfortunate. And I always say that, look, I don't know if we're on the I don't know if it's a ticking time bomb. I don't know if we've always been on that verge. Many countries have, and it has fallen over. They have tipped over, or from fragile to failed. All of these different indexes. But my major concern, especially after seeing a lot of these protests, especially of recent, especially in Nigeria as well, right, with police brutality and all types of things that have global undertones, right? They're not peculiar to the continent of Africa. I'm very concerned about the future of the young generation as well. because at some point it may register to them that is is what we're fighting for, this democracy that we're trying to even attain, is it even possible? Is it just a utopia? Is democracy just a word? Like, are we hiding behind this whole curtain of democracy when it's not even possible, right? So there's that battle of the fragility of democracy, and if it's even attainable, not even in an African country, but in the rest of the world, right? So we have real issues with this whole idea of democracy. Even here in the United States, we're not 100% full democracy, right? We fall short, right? We don't live up to our own, principles or our values of what we espouse to the world. And so, what does that mean? It just means that we are living in imperfect democracies. And the question is, will we ever achieve the full democracy that we talk about?
And Shaka, if I can add one point to that, one thing that I'm particularly concerned about is whether citizens, and particularly young citizens, are going to continue to see elections as a route to change. Because some of the recent elections have been pretty difficult. And you look at the calendar of elections in Africa in 2021, and it's a difficult calendar in terms of expectations for free and fair elections.
John, if I might